Today we're gonna take another really cool idea over the finish line. Things got a little bit wild.
Where's the box of T-Track?
Gonna kill somebody. There was definitely some clowning around, and is always the case when Jason is here. Now you've come in like a wrecking ball. Actually, you know what? Let's switch sides for continuity. Like I said, we've brought lots of these types of products to market, and it is not an easy endeavor. So Jason came down to help me out in figuring out how to create something that he made in his shop and turn it into something that works for you at home at any skill level and on any table saw. I'm excited to have you here today and take you through the process. This is actually shot over several days, but let's wear the same shirt.
Yeah, we'll just pretend like it's shot over one day.
Yeah, continuity, baby.
The real reason I wanted to come down is because I feel like I'm pretty good at coming up with a jig for a specific purpose when I need it. And when I developed this jig, I realized that this doesn't have to just be for one thing. It could actually be for a lot of different things. But where I fall short is figuring out, all right, I can build this in my shop and make it work, but how can we do it in a way that is easy to duplicate for you guys if you purchase one and can put it together simply and it's gonna work fantastic.
Right, so we're gonna get out the Legos and the Lincoln Logs and see what we can do. The first step in any product development process is putting together a prototype and figuring out what your design's guiding principles are.
How are you gonna even get a thing in there? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Initial prototype made from your plans. I made a couple changes. I made this a little bit longer. I added some holes here so you could create a support for if you're doing like a big race panel. And just a few basic thoughts I think we can change immediately is this is out of square slightly, and then you add the weight of this and it can cause it to flex. So I think we like very clearly need some supports here. I mean, it's like 2 degrees out of square. I know you can fix that with some tape on this, but I think that we can make some changes there. I think we make this smaller to make it a little bit more user-friendly. Also shave about $15 off the shipping cost if we can get a few pounds and a few inches smaller. But I also think you do not need something this big. This becomes very big and cumbersome, especially if you have like a shorter fence, like a DeWalt contractor saw or something like that. And then I think we should add some accessories, miter spline. I know we talked about an L fence.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And an L fence is like so versatile. I mean, that thing is awesome. So we'll do that. I think we need to fix these screw patterns here. I tried to make a big recess and use a washer, but that did not work at all. So we're gonna go back to just a V groove, and then people can drill their own hole, but it'll center. And then if they screw up, you know, they can move down here. But let's make some changes, make it smaller, come back and put together another prototype.
Cool. That's pretty good.
What?
You can buy an island in Scotland with castle ruins and 8 separate homes on it for $7.5 million. An island.
Seems fair.
A nice chair.
Oh. Yeah.
Reminds me of that night I spent in prison.
When designing this product, we really wanted to focus on accessibility. We understand that many of you may not have the same tools that we have, so it had to be easy for anyone from a beginner to expert to assemble and use. For beginners, it had to be foolproof, and for experts, it had to perform exceptionally well. Throughout the design process, we constantly asked ourselves, what would this experience be like to someone just starting in woodworking or just maybe transitioning to full-time? We already did this.
No, but your mom put on a lot of weight. I mean, you can see it right there.
Right. Collaborating with Jason is always a pleasure. He's so smart, and we're really good at fleshing out ideas together. Of course, we definitely couldn't perfect it without some good bourbon and a bit of clowning around. Once we had a prototype we were happy with, and trust me, we broke a few along the way. We took it to Lou and his team in the warehouse, and they cut and cleaned up the parts for us while we enjoyed lunch.
What do you eat now? Just like raw produce every day, or what?
I have a source online. I buy placenta, fresh placenta. That's mainly what I eat. The stem cells are really good for recovery. Yeah, a lot of ground teeth for calcium. Like you can buy teeth from the dentist's office and stuff. You grind it up in a powder.
So I think we made the changes. We added a second curve here, which was tough to model in the computer, but we can get a steeper angle on the thing. But I think one of the things that we really solved in this version is kind of how people are gonna be able to put it together in a repeatable, easy way that's gonna give them not only that perfect sort of friction fit, but also that it's gonna be perfectly square every time. And there'll be an installation video, and I think we're working on written instructions, which we haven't done in the past, and people always request, so we're working on that, and those will be ready by the time yours ships. But I think one of the coolest things here are these supports. One, we've gotten rid of the handle you did, because you know, it's kind of heavy. I think one handle might be a lot of torque on that. We've made these into handles, which I think is super cool. And then, you know, we've created nearly these perfect size mortises. And when you install it, if you do it like this, a little bit of super glue, we'll have holes drilled in here for the consumer, and then shoot a screw into it. You're gonna get a perfectly square reference. It's gonna be real tough to screw up. And then you'll be able to do some minor adjustments with tape or something like that. But we'll put that in the installation video, right?
So one concern that I still have, and I had the same issue when I designed mine, is screwing in this T-track. Because this is 3/4 of an inch or close to 3/4 of an inch, and you put these screws in, and the problem is, and you can see right here on this one, they just pop out the back.
And you gotta file
which isn't ideal. I had to file mine down. I mean, obviously you're gonna put a little glue in here with your T-track, but do you think there's another solution other than screws?
I ordered something for something else that I think might work. Give me a sec. 10 minutes later.
He just left.
So check these out. These are called Euro screws. I think they use
Euro screws or Mayo screws?
It's not your Ami, it's Miami.
Oh, yeah. They use these for like drawer slide installations.
Drawer slide and cabinet hardware. And what's really cool about these is they're flat and they're a little bit bigger than the hole in the T-track. So you can drill a hole that's the same size, and this is gonna thread perfectly.
Oh, and you won't have to take the T-track out to do it. You can do it right when the T-track's installed.
And if you put a backer board here, you'll have to drill all the way through so you won't get it chipping out in the back.
Yeah.
And this will go in, and not only will it suck down the T-track with the epoxy or glue that you use, you know how hard it is to drill the center of the hole of a T-track and then put a screw in there? This will eliminate that. So it'll make it even more user-friendly, which I think is super cool.
That'll be perfect.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing we gotta consider is the chipboard. I don't know that it's gonna...
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I mean, chipboard isn't the worst, but...
It's gotta be strong, especially if you're doing cuts over a moving blade.
Well, and it's chipboard. It chips.
Yes.
Easier.
It does.
So it would be nice to find something nicer.
So I have a sheet of something they use in concrete forms to put textured pattern on concrete, and it has a Baltic core. So it's basically this same surface. Let's try that.
Yeah, a Baltic would be really nice. I mean, the back is all Baltic.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we stick with that theme.
I mean, it'll be so nice. The screws will hold so well for the T-track too. And it's just gonna be a lot cleaner look.
Yeah. All right.
Let's cut that out.
Redo.
And let's make the back a little smaller too. I think we go a little bit smaller.
I think we're really, really close. Just a few little tweaks.
Yeah, I think so too. And then we can start worrying about production and laser engraving.
Yeah. One thing I like that we did on this is on mine, I took the time to cut all these T-tracks at a miter so they came together at a nice point, which does look really clean. The annoying thing is that you have to slide the bolt on all the way across to get down to these different sections. I like that we left this open so you can just stick the bolt right in there and you can go any way that you want, which is really nice.
All right, let's go, let's do another run. I think we should be ready to start putting production together.
Cool.
Now that we've finished the prototype, we really want to think about optimizing the user experience. So that's doing things like cutting the T-track to length and deburring it. The Euro screws, those were a great addition because those are going to keep people from getting frustrated, screws poking out the back. They really allow for slight variations in drilling. T-track could be really frustrating to get a center hole in, but these allow you to just use a drill bit about the same size as the hole, which means it's not going to move around a lot when you screw in the Euro screw. When assembling this, the order of operations is going to be crucial, and we've got written and video instructions that are going to make it really easy. But after doing 20 to 30 of these in the last few days, I know that it matters because when you clamp the edges, it'll cause the center to bow a little bit. So then you have to clamp the middle, and there's a special way to do that. You want to make sure you put the middle screws in first, the first being the one on the right side of the fence, and then the one on the big piece. And then you can screw the other ones and you're gonna get that really perfect sliding fit. We add some tape to the inside, which will give you a thou or two of clearance, which makes it not too tight, but tight enough that you don't have any wiggle. It's really cool, and I think we really optimized the experience of putting this together. And then finally, I'm gonna drill some holes in these support gussets, and I got to use the new Katz-Moses toolless countersink, which comes out in a few weeks, and you're gonna love this thing. It's really cool. Ooh, baby, that's so fucking good. That's so good. Let's see how square she is. Woo! Dude, I bet if you put a little like paste wax in there.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
All right, so I think that's it, right? We're about done.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great.
Slide's great. The installation method is killer. It came out square.
Yeah, we got Baltic in there instead of the chipboard.
And I love that hex pattern.
Yeah, it's super cool. Those Euro style screws are the perfect solution. It's nice and clean on the back now.
Yep, L-fence. We're gonna make that a little bit bigger. Jason's idea, so that way we can do bigger tapers underneath that. We've got a spline jig. Otherwise, I think it's time to go to production, which here, I know that this is kind of new to you, but first we make laser engraving jigs. We make plates, we call them. So it's a whole sheet of one part. And that allows us to maximize cost. So we can cut as much cost by nesting a bunch of stuff together on one sheet instead of trying to cut out every piece for the whole jig on one sheet of plywood and only do like 4 or 5. We can get a lot more out of a sheet if we just nest each part together. So let's make a laser engraving jig, which is kind of fun. And we'll have Lou and Taylor, our production guys, start doing the plates. And we'll get to work on getting this done and ready to go to you. When transferring something between two machines, like a laser and a CNC, it's crucial to establish a common reference point and a common origin. I like to mark a large cross on my jig as a reliable reference. So I go dead middle on X, which is left to right, and dead middle on Y, which is top to bottom. This allows me to use the laser's red dot to follow either of those lines to ensure that my jig is square in the machine. Then where they cross in the very, very middle, I set that as my origin, and I can get repeatable parts every time. I create a test file starting with a corner piece just to verify accuracy, and then it's off to the races. This particular piece is unique because that word flush is on a different level, which is not great on a laser because it's slightly out of focus. You can see it's a little bit, looks bold. That's fine because the gusset's gonna cover it and it's never gonna be seen after you put it together. But I do think that it allows us to accurately communicate to the user what needs to happen there. We engraved the logos and everything turned out great. All right, so while I was doing the laser stuff, Jason made this box for my daughter using only the jig. You can go watch his video over on his channel. I don't know why he brought a Barbie to Santa Barbara. He said it was his personal Barbie, but he gifted it to my daughter in the box. So this is the base jig, this is the miter spline, this is the L-fence, this is how it will come to you. It comes flat packed with all the hardware in it. We wrap it up real good and send it to you, and it's really cool. And we do a lot of work to get there. I mean, we even drill and countersink holes for you on the support gussets. We've made a bunch of changes since the original jig to now and what we're sending to you. And I wanna show you all those changes over on the table. So it's pretty nuts what it can do, including this runner, which we haven't talked about yet, which we just came up with last minute. So let me take you over there and show you. All right, so just to remind you, this is what we started with. And here's what we came up with. We got the completed jig. It's incredible, the miter spline, and of course the L-fence. And a couple things we didn't show you that we came up with like last iteration was, one, we made it so that this whole panel lifts up 1.1 1/8. And that allows you to flush trim edge banding. You can create vertical dados or rabbets. Really cool addition. Another one that I think is just unbelievable is we're giving you a piece of T-track, and that makes this come off, and it can be a crosscut sled with your L-fence. You can use this arm to create angled tenons or make it a taper jig or a straight line rip jig. Sort of like the Katz-Moses multi-sled if you've ever seen that. So those are a couple big additions. Let's run through some of the other really cool stuff this does, and I'll show you some examples. In the vertical position, this is square, so you can reference off any edge and get the same angle as long as your piece is touching the top of your table saw fence. You can do edge bevels. If you need a 5-degree bevel on the long way, that's really easy to do. Raised panels, very similar. Basically any angle over 45 degrees. You can do rebates, rabbets, and grooves in the vertical position. You can do angled or straight bridle joints, tenons, and half flaps. You can use it for flush trimming, like edge banding. And then of course you have the L fence, where you can joint any size board as long as you have a straight edge to match. You can use it as a guide bushing for templates. It's really safe because your fall off is not gonna get pinched in between your fence and the blade. It does tapers, dados. I'm sure you've clamped a sacrificial piece to the fence and had to raise your dado blade up. You don't need to do that with an L fence. Jason came up with flush trimming splines when he was doing his box, and I thought that was a really cool use. And obviously we just talked about it, but in the horizontal position, you can use it as a crosscut sled or for angled joinery and tapering and straight line ripping. And that's just some of the ways you can use it. I'm sure you're gonna come up with many more. And if you do, please tag Jason and I on Instagram. I would love to see it. Let's go over and say goodbye to Jason. Sweet, Jay, I got the laser engraving done.
Ah, nice. While
cool.
you were doing that, I made a box.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I just took a bunch of really nice wood. I hope that's okay.
It's okay, it's just like $800 worth of zebra wood.
Dude, I did most of this on this jig, which is
Really?
pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love it, you did the crosscut sled setup.
Splines, raised panel, miters, everything.
Super cool, and that'll be in your video?
Yeah.
Awesome. About time to head to the airport, huh?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna take Jay to the airport, and then tomorrow I'm gonna get with Lou, and we're gonna finish up production and get this thing out to you guys. Cha-cha.